All right, welcome guys. Happy Friday. Hope you guys are having a good day. Hope you're enjoying the. Here, I'll just turn that on slate probably. Hope you're enjoying the NCAA tournament so far. We're already seeing some upsets. I was kind of happy to see Ohio State go down since, again, some of you know I'm a pretty big Michigan fan, so that was nice to see. I already see some Andrew Wiggins talk in the chat. Yes, if Oubre's out, Wiggins is in play, but you guys know my feelings by now on Andrew Wiggins. Okay, so let's talk about the news we have. Trevor Ariza available to play. DeMar DeRozan will play too. Gobert questionable. This is actually pretty significant. If Gobert is out and Favors starts, he becomes probably the best value on the slate. Let's see. Magic guys, we did just get that news. We'll go over that in a sec. Kyrie is available to play. Let's see again. Oubre upgraded to questionable, so that's obviously pretty big news. Michael Carter-Williams out. Terrence Ross out once again. We got Smart starting. Halliburton still on a minutes limit, even though he's going to play over 30 minutes. John Wall will play. That takes Kevin Porter Jr. out of play for me. Augustine and DJ Wilson even available for the Rockets, but I'm not sure if either will play. Grizzlies, same starting lineup as the last game with Grayson Allen in. Again, Andre Iguodala out. OG in, Fournier in, Magic, same starters as last game. Aaron Gordon, he did play 30 minutes the last game, or over 30, so that is good to see. Andrew Wiggins still incoming. You already know what's going to happen if you play him, for sure. First time live on channel, thanks for all the info. Hey, I appreciate you coming to check out the live stream, man. Hope you enjoy. All right, let's talk about the Vegas odds now. So Sacramento, Boston's a 232 over under. The Celtics 7-point favorites. Spurs and Cavs a 213 over under. Spurs are 5-point favorites. Pacers and Heat a 215.5 over under. The Heat are 4-point favorites. Warriors, Grizzlies 221 over under. The Grizz are 6.5-point favorites. Again, keep an eye on Oubre news. Steph doubtful. Don't expect him to play. That's why Grizzlies are favored. Bulls and Nuggets at 225 over under. The Nuggets are 7-point favorites. T-Wolves and Suns. We just saw this game last night. 232.5 over under. The Suns are 11-point favorites. And that is it for... Oh, and then... Wait, why did I have this Jazz game down here? I don't know. That's weird. All right, Jazz Raptors game. I have not a ton of interest in 232 over under. Unless Gobert's out. 4-point favorites Jazz. And then, yeah, Mavs, Blazers. This one should be fun to watch. A 228 over under. Mavs are 3-point favorites. So let's start off with Sacramento and Boston. On the Sacramento side, I will say there's no priorities for me on the slate. I think there's three guys I have interest in. Fox, Holmes, and a little bit of Halliburton. So De'Aaron Fox at 9-1 will go overlooked in the slate. And I think it's for good reason. Right? We have Luka on the slate. We have Jokic. We have Lillard, Cat. You know, there's a lot of good spin ups in the slate, maybe in slightly better matchups. But that will, again, lower the ownership on Fox. If you look at his box scores, he's been phenomenal. 56, 51, 45, and 48 fancy points. I like Fox as a contrarian play. I know it's not the best matchup, but I think he's a good way to get different. And then I still have some interest in Rashawn Holmes, too. Only played 27 minutes the last game. I think that will scare some people off. He was in severe foul trouble. He missed out on, I want to say, a good 10 minutes. With Whiteside being back, that honestly doesn't do much to his minutes. So I think if he stays out of foul trouble, he should play about 35 minutes. And I think he could get it done at this price. Again, not a optimal play, but I think still viable if you want to get different. Barnes and Hield, I'm probably not going to get to either. Again, Halliburton, they said he's still on a minute limit. He played 32 minutes. So I'm guessing we get around 32 minutes from him. At this price point, I think is viable, but not something that I love. So those are the three guys I have some interest in there. But yeah, that's no priorities for me. I'd rather play Weston Wundo than Andrew Wiggins. Oh, man, that's good. All right, so moving on to Boston. The top three guys, Tatum, Brown, Kemba, I think all look pretty decent because of the matchup. Is there one priority, though, for me for Boston? I would say no. I think they're all decent plays, though. Like, again, I think if I had to pick one, it would be Tatum, 44, 42, 47, and 46 fancy points. Love targeting players against this Sacramento team. So you can honestly do a little game stack, too, to get different. You can maybe do like a Kemba, Tatum, De'Aaron Fox stack. Brown, Kemba, again, I think both pretty decent options. Robert Williams at 5'8". Minutes are going up for him. He actually played 27 minutes the last game. We know he is a phenomenal point per minute guy. He went for 48 fancy points. I do have some interest in Robert Williams. I expect around 20-ish minutes. And again, the upside is there. Marcus Smart is moved into the starting lineup. I think we get around 30 minutes from him. Not going to play the point guard with Kemba there, but I think he's a fair play at the price. Again, up-tempo game. And the last guy I'll mention, I know he tilted a lot of us that last slate, is Daniel Tice in 26 minutes at 11 fancy points. I know he busted, but it's kind of a nice buy low opportunity on Tice. He burned a lot of people. Again, he was chalk that last slate, including myself. People aren't going to go back. Look at the previous 2 games where he got minutes. 26 minutes, 39 fancy points against the Utah Jazz. 28 minutes, 33 fancy points. 32 minutes, 37 fancy points. He can get there. Now, I know the floor, he's had a couple dud games in here for sure. But I like the matchup. And do we have the starting lineup news yet? I think he'll start again. He's going to, split the center minutes pretty evenly, I would say, with Robert Williams. It doesn't look like we have it yet. So don't mind going back to Wall on Tice. It will lower the ownership. He will be lower owned for sure. Moving on to San Antonio and Cleveland. There's not much here on the Spurs. DeMar DeRozan is now available to play. That was not something we were expecting. So definitely, in my opinion, takes White, Keldon Johnson out of play. DeJounte Murray, secondary option. DeMar DeRozan himself would probably be the guy I would get to, but still not a priority for me. So really, there's not much in the Spurs. And the Cavs, there's really only one guy of interest in. Sexton, Jared Allen, seem priced about right. No thank you on Garland. It's Larry Nance. And the reason it's Larry Nance is the minutes, 38 and 37. Looking like the plan is to play him 35-plus minutes. It's a good matchup. He's a guy that can stuff a stat sheet. I do like Larry Nance at that price. It's also nice that he's small forward eligible as well. And that is it for the Cleveland Cavs. So let's move on to Utah and Toronto. Honestly, there's nothing I like on the Jazz unless Gobert is out. If Gobert is out, then that catapults Favors to assuming he starts, the best value on the slate at 3.2K. So keep an eye on this one for sure. But love Favors if there's no Gobert and he starts. And then, who would play the backup 5? Ersan did not play the last game, but they did sign him. So, maybe it's Ersan. Maybe it's Morgan. I'm not sure who'd play the backup 5. So you could take if Gobert is out and Favors starts and you want to get super contrarian, you could maybe try to guess on one of those guys. Ersan's the better point per minute guy, but that would be a pretty big risk. And again, if Gobert plays, zero interest. On the Toronto side, I'll make this pretty clear or pretty simple. No interest in anyone on Toronto for me. Okay, guys, that's what are we? 3 games up, 3 games down. We are at 225 viewers and 35 likes. If you guys could hit that like button, it does help me out a ton. So that would be greatly, greatly appreciated. All right, so let's move on to Indiana, Miami. And I'll make this pretty simple too. Zero interest in anyone in Indiana and zero interest in anyone in Miami. These 2 games, in my opinion, you just cross them off the slate. Detroit and Houston, this game looks a little bit more interesting, especially now on the Detroit side. So, Jeremy Grant at 7.2, I think is a pretty decent option. Should play mid-30s minutes. A guy that at times and stuff in stat sheet, but at times, can be scoring dependent. So, don't really know what to make of Jeremy Grant, right? There's games where he can go for 6-7 assists and 6-7 rebounds. There's also games where he goes for 1 rebound and 1 assist. So I think Houston is not really the best defensive team. So I think he's a pretty decent play. I do kind of like DeLon Wright too. My worry is he's going to be over-owned. Played 38 minutes the last game. That was without Dennis Smith Jr. Dennis Smith Jr. is now back. I don't think DeLon Wright plays 38 minutes again, which does make him which makes him riskier. I think he probably plays around 30. Still viable for sure, but not a lock play. Mason Plumlee, it's just the minutes, right? They want to give Isaiah Stewart good run off the bench, so Plumlee can still go for 35 in 25 to 30 minutes, but it's not something I'm super excited about. Josh Jackson, Saddiq Bey are both decent options. I think Saddiq Bey might be a little bit over-owned after that 54 fancy point game. What do I expect from Saddiq Bey? Probably around 30 to 35 minutes and around 25-ish fancy points. So I would not expect the 54 again from Saddiq Bey. I think he's a fine option, but if he's going to be really chalky, I'm good going elsewhere. And then mentioning again, Dennis Smith Jr. back. Isaiah Stewart, I think, is just a safe value because we know his role. 20 to 25 minutes is a solid point per minute guy. I think a good value, safe value. Frank Jackson started that last game at the 2, played 31 minutes. If he starts again, you can use him as a salary relief guy. He's a lot better point per minute guy when he's playing the point guard. I don't know if you guys have played DFS the last couple of years. Say you remember on the Pelicans when they had a lot of injuries. Frank Jackson was actually pretty good. But if he plays the 2, then, not so much. So, yeah, keep an eye on what Detroit does with the starting lineup. Let's move on to Houston. Houston's a team with John Wall now playing. I have very little interest in. Christian Wood, assume they're going to limit him again. I don't know if we've gotten confirmation on that yet, but I don't think he's going to play full minutes. It is a revenge game narrative. Let's see. We got the Kings starting lineup. That's what we expected. Gobert remains questionable. Doesn't help us at all. Okay, so yeah, honestly, Christian Wood, if there's no minutes limit, I think you could go to him in a revenge game. But if he's still on a minutes limit, no thanks. And then Oladipo, John Wall seem priced about right, and then that takes Kevin Porter Jr. out of play with Wall playing. So yeah, there's not much here for Houston. Let's move on to Brooklyn and Orlando. On the Brooklyn side, I think Harden and Kyrie at the top are both pretty decent options. Would rather get to Harden if you could get the extra $2,000, just because the floor is way higher and the ceiling is higher as well. So yeah, I have some interest in Harden at the top. Kyrie, I think, is a decent contrarian option. I think if people are going to spend up on one of the net stars, it's going to be Harden. So that might make Kyrie a little bit lower owned, and he's still got some upside, right? He can still go for 50 plus. The last guy I mentioned here is Nick Claxton. He did play over 20 minutes off the bench the last game. He's a solid point per minute guy. You could take a dart in him and hope he plays over 20 minutes again. Yeah, definitely viable. Okay, moving on to Orlando. Vucevic at this price point with Aaron Gordon and Fournier in is not a optimal play, but I kind of like him as a way to get different. If you want to use like a Vucevic, James Harden stack in GPPs, I'm fine with that. That looks pretty decent. Ross and MCW are out. Aaron Gordon is an intriguing play in the mid-range. The reason being is he played out of nowhere 31 minutes. He's been banged up all year. He missed the last couple of games, and he just plays 31 minutes. I was really surprised about that because his first game back, he played 14. Another positive, he's running the backup point guard. So when Chason Randall is not out there, we're getting point Aaron Gordon. He had 7 assists last game. Phenomenal matchup. I think he goes overlooked in the slate. I think that's a mistake. As long as there's no minutes limit, I actually do kind of like Aaron Gordon as a GPP play. I do. I think he flies under the radar on this one. Let's see. Scrolling down a bit more. No on Bacon. No on Fournier. Chason Randall starting again. You guys know the deal with him, right? Low usage guy, but he's starting at point guard and should play around 30 minutes. It's a great matchup. Playable for salary relief. You're probably not going to get a big game, but if you get like 15 to 20, you'll take it, right? You don't need much more from him, and you probably won't get much more. Golden State and Memphis. This is tricky because the Oubre upgraded news is honestly huge. That does change a lot of things. Oh, wait. Excuse me with this? Kelly Oubre will play, but is not starting? I just gotta say this I just really gotta say this. I hate Steve Kerr with a passion. He is the woke coach for DFS. Whenever you think you know what he's gonna do, he just throws a complete wrench to that and does the opposite. Like, what on earth is he doing? Not starting Nico Mannion, starting Poole at the point, Oubre playing, not starting. I just like, what? Oh my God. He just infuriates me. All right, I will do my best to break this down. This is tricky now. I did not expect this. So, Oubre playing, coming off the bench. I'm not going to get to him. He's out of play for me. Draymond Green, I still like. Draymond Green, we know the role. Like, he's going to play about 35 minutes, and he might handle the ball more without Steph Curry. So I do like Draymond Green a lot in the mid-range still. Andrew Wiggins, fine, you can play him. I'm not going to do it. Now, Jordan Poole starting at the point, it's just like, okay. with him starting at the point guard, I think he's one of the better value plays of the slate now for sure. We haven't really seen a ton of point Jordan Poole, which just makes it weird, right? Because, when Poole's been out there, he's a scoring dependent player. My worry is, yes, he's starting at the point, but it might just be like Draymond Green playing the point guard a lot. So either way, though, Poole's, again, been shooting well. And if he's going to play a little bit of the point, that does boost his floor. So do like Jordan Poole. Kent Bazemore is starting, but Oubre is playing. I think with Bazemore starting, probably plays at least 20 minutes. I just can already see this happening. I can see the future here. Bazemore looks like a really good value play. We get to him. He plays like 10 minutes. He plays like 5 minutes in the first quarter. Kerr pulls him, and he plays like 10 minutes total. And I just can already see this happening. But with I'm guessing we get at least 20 minutes from Bazemore, which does make him a good value. And then Kevon Looney starting at the center as well. Memphis is a bigger team, and there's no Wiseman, no Pascal. They don't really have a ton of other options. He played over 20 minutes the last game. I'm expecting around 20 minutes from him this game. Not a great point per minute guy, but if you need someone for salary relief, that's fine. Nico Mannion, now that he's not starting, makes him riskier. I wouldn't go there in cash games now. He might still get around 20 minutes, but not as good of a value with him not starting. So that's really my breakdown there. I just really hate Steve Kerr. I really do. He's a scientist. All right, so that's it for Golden State. Let's move on to Memphis. John Morant, Jonas Valanciunas at the top at 7-6 and 7-5 respectively. John Morant should play mid-30s minutes. It's a good matchup. I don't think he's going to be super popular either. Golden State's a team that's going to pick up some ownership. If you want to bring back, it's either Ja or JV. And then JV, my one concern is he lost minutes the last game, wasn't in foul trouble, only played 24. That's not great to see, but he should be able to have his way against his Golden State front court. So like him for tournaments. And then that's probably it. D'Anthony Melton, he's got the upside if you want to try to go there, but don't expect 40 again from him. If I'm going to take a shot on one of the secondary pieces, I guess it would be Melton, because he's a guy that can go out and get you 25 to 30, but I don't love the price. And then that's probably it for me. Moving on to Chicago and Denver. Chicago, there's I think only two guys I'm interested in. It's Zach LaVine at the top as a contrarian play at 8.7K. 50 fantasy points in back-to-back games will go overlooked in the slate. Kind of like a De'Aaron Fox, like him as a contrarian spend up. Upside there. Thad Young, fine, but minutes aren't necessarily secure for him. And then last guy I'll mention is Satoransky. He's been starting at the point guard position. Minutes slowly trending up for him, actually. 26, 31, 34. If he starts again, I expect around 30 minutes. And I think he's a guy that would be a pretty decent value. Not like a smash value like he's been last couple slates, but still think he's in play for sure. Kelly starting now? Okay. I was like, what? I couldn't, that made no sense. Let's see. I still see him as not starting. I don't know. We'll keep an eye on that. Oubre starting. Let's see. Did Fantasy Labs maybe just not... Are they a little bit behind? Sometimes have been a little bit slow, actually. Let's see. Oubre starting. Jordan Poole starting. Okay, so I'm guessing Bazemore's not in the starting lineup. Is available and will start. What is this reporting? What on earth is this reporting right now? Okay. So my guess is then Bazemore doesn't start. This is just not what I needed on a Friday, guys. This is just not what I needed. All right, keep an eye on that one. Let's move on to Denver. So Nikola Jokic at the top, I actually like a lot. Great matchup here. The one risk is slight chance for a blowout here. But if this game stays close, should play 35 plus minutes. Triple-double upside. Love targeting bigs against Chicago. Really like Jokic at the top. Murray and MPJ are both decent contrarian plays. I think I would actually rather take a shot on MPJ, who's playing around 30 minutes, and it's been playing pretty well recently. Again, good matchup. And then Will Barton at 5'6". I actually think he's a safer option. He's playing big minutes. He's a guy that's doing more of the peripheral stats. He's shooting the ball well. It's a good spot. I don't think he's going to be super popular, but I do have some interest there in Barton. So probably my favorite plays, Jokic and Barton on the Denver side. The last two games are Dallas and Portland. So Luka Doncic, one of the best spend ups in the slate. Definitely a more optimal spend up, right? If you're playing cash games, you're probably going to want to look to a Luka Doncic. Played 43 minutes. They basically ran an 8-man rotation last couple of games with no Dorian Finney-Smith. So really, really like Luka at the top. I'm fine with Porzingis too. If you want to stack this game up, you could do Luka, Porzingis, Lillard. You can make that work and then just go value. There's enough value in the slate to do it. So this is a game that I think you can definitely stack for GPPs. Hardaway Jr. I think will be decently popular because he started and played 37 minutes. You guys know my worry with Hardaway Jr. is he's not going to do a lot of the peripheral. So yes, he could still play 35 minutes and get you like 15 fancy points if he's not hitting his shots. I do think he's a lot more viable that assuming he starts. But again, very, very reliant in the scoring. And that's it for Dallas. Let's move on to Portland. Damian Lillard is not a cash game play, but a guy that's been shooting the ball really well recently. He had 0 assists. 36 real-life points, 6 boards, and 0 assists. You will never see that again from Damian Lillard. I couldn't believe that stat line. But yeah, he's been playing really well. I'm fine if you want to go there again to stack this game up. CJ, Cantor, the rest of the Trailblazers, not much interest there. Minnesota and Phoenix, the final game of the slate. So Karl-Anthony Towns won me a good amount of money last night. Almost 70 fancy points. He was 10% owned. I think only one other guy played him in the tournament I was in. So, like I said, DeAndre Ayton is not a good defender. Dario Saric is not a good defender. Phoenix as a team is a good defensive team, but individually, Cat still is a good matchup here. My worry is he's going to be over-owned after the last big game. I think he's a good play, but this might be one where it's everyone goes to him after that big game. So, yeah, if he's going to be super, super chalk, I'm fine going to maybe go to Jokic for a little bit more or go to someone else. But I do think Cat is still my favorite play in Minnesota. Anthony Edwards, even in a bad individual matchup, right? Went for 60 fantasy points. He has been playing great. 24, 22, and 31 shot attempts. He's shooting the ball a ton. Sure, right? Phoenix is actually been a solid defensive team. I'm good going to Anthony Edwards for tournaments. Don't expect 60 again, but hey, he is just getting a ton of shot attempts up. Rubio revenge game narrative, but don't love the price there. Value-wise, I don't think we have to go there in the slate. Hernan Gomez is the flat min. Probably plays about 20 minutes if you want to get a little bit, if you want to get a little bit different for value. Finally, Phoenix. So the top 3 guys I think are all in play here. Booker, I would say things go right as the most upside one for 50 fancy points. The concern here is 11-point spread, a little bit of blowout risk. Chris Paul, I would say, is probably the safest, again, just because of the peripheral stats. And then DeAndre Ayton at 6'4", he was actually chalked the last slate, got in some foul trouble. That's going to lower the ownership. I think if he stays out of foul trouble, he might play over 30 minutes in this game. So kind of like Ayton as a contrarian play because he burned a lot of people last night. And then again, Saric, if you think Ayton struggles or gets into foul trouble again, he'll play the backup 5. But the price point is high enough where it's I don't even think we have to go there. All right, so that's it for the team-by-team breakdown, guys. Let's see. Do we have any more Golden State updates? Is Oubre starting? Do we know that yet? Yeah, okay, Oubre is starting now. That's what I expected. So let me go back to Golden State really quick. So now with Oubre starting, I don't really like Bazemore. Oubre, Wiggins are both fine at their respective prices. Draymond Green is still the guy I like the best of the 3. And then I do like Jordan Poole now that he's starting at point guard. So Poole, Green, probably my favorite plays on Golden State. The value off the bat, and you can go to Kevon Looney too. Not a super high upside guy, but probably gets around 20 minutes. If you want to take a shot like Nico Mannion off the bench, again, maybe he plays a little bit more this game, but that would be a riskier play now that he's not starting. Okay, so that is now it for the team-by-team breakdown, guys. Let's see. We are at almost 350 viewers, 93 likes during March Madness. I appreciate that, guys. Thank you. Osmos Cat only projected for 13 ownership. Really? Okay. So if that is the case, again, I don't look at any projections, ownership projections. If Osmos right with that projection, then I do like Cat again. I do. If he's going to be low owned, I'm fine going back there. Luka, Poole, Nance, Draymond, Jokic, Hardaway, Kleber, favors for GPP. What's Kleber's price at? Let's see. Dallas is going to run a pretty tight rotation. Yeah, he's 4-2. Played 41 minutes. I'm okay with that. I didn't mention Kleber, but he's in play because the minutes. And then, yeah, Favors, if only play Favors if there's no Gobert. Chase on Randall, yes, he's in play. 7.3K for guard. Let's see. You can go to Edwards in tournaments. I don't mind DeJounte Murray even with DeMar DeRozan back, but there's no standout play there. I'd say one of those two. Yeah, Randall's still in play. Again, we're not going to get a big score from him. Bazemore off the bench if you want him. The thing with Bazemore off the bench is Kerr hates him. So if he's not starting, he could literally play like 10 minutes tonight. I would not be surprised. I have a lot of good centers like Holmes, Cantor, Robert Williams, Pirtle, Valanciunas, Allen, Plumlee. Two best center options of the above in your opinion. Depends what are you playing cash or tournaments? For tournaments, I think Jonas Valanciunas, if things go right, he's got probably the most upside of that bunch. Jonas Valanciunas or Robert Williams for tournaments, I would say. Yeah, I wouldn't go crazy in Warriors now with Kelly Oubre playing. I think one or two. 4,300 for utility. Let's see. I think Isaiah Stewart looks pretty decent. He's at 4K. Randall starting. You can go to Nick Claxton. But, yeah, there's not a lot of standout value now that those Golden State guys are in. Shooting guard for 3,500. There might not be anything. I can give it a look. Let's see. 3,500 in shooting guard. Oh, it would be Chase on Randall. Yeah. With him starting point guard. CJ today, not for me. Recussion with the $5 super chat. Appreciate the content. Hey, thank you, man. Yeah, super chats obviously are not necessary at all, but that is greatly appreciated. Very, very kind of you. Are Joe Ingles or Hardaway in play? Joe Ingles, no, with Conley back, but Hardaway, yeah. Fournier or Wiggins, ooh, two guys I absolutely hate. Oh, man. Both are in good spots, though. Give me Fournier now that Oubre's in. I think Wiggins still might be a little bit overowned. 5.7K for Ford and not Nance. All right. Let's see. This might be a little bit tricky. 5.7. I'm not really interested in Bojan. Not super interested in Lauri Markkanen. I think it would be Will Barton. Murray, Poole, Grant, Green, Jay Green. I don't know which Murray that is. There's a couple Murrays. Jeff, I'm guessing that's Jeff Green, Jay Green, or JaMychal Green. There's a lot of Jay Greens. Either way, I don't really have interest in any of the Jay Greens. Pirtle for cash games, I think you could do better at center for cash. And then Nader, I don't have interest in. And Ayton, I don't even think is a cash game play either. So I don't think that's a cash game lineup. Yeah, so optimal studs, I think Luka, if you're building a cash game lineup, it's probably Luka and then one of Harden or Jokic, I think. If you're trying to build like an optimal cash game lineup. 4,400 for forward. Yeah, it probably would be Kleber. And just because of the minutes, right? Not a high upside guy, but he should play big minutes. Why don't you look at projections? It's just always how I played. I guess I'm a little more old school. And plus, I don't want projections to push me one way or the other. So that's kind of the reason. Plus, I only build one lineup, so it's like I just go off my intuition. And yeah, that's just how I go. Again, I don't want to if I'm looking at projections that everyone else is looking at, then I'm going to be on I don't know, if there's one guy that I'm not so high on and the projections make him really look good, then maybe it might persuade me a bit. So that's just the reason I just don't look at it at all. Jokic or Cat? Ooh. I mean, if Cat's going to be low owned, it might be Cat for the discount, but I think I'm playing Jokic today. Yeah, shooting guard, it's Randall because there's not really much there. Looney or Mannion? Ooh. I think Mannion might play a couple more minutes. Better point per a guy than Looney. Give me Mannion, I guess. He is a little riskier, though, not starting, obviously. Luka, Poole, Aaron Gordon, Draymond, Favors, or Looney. Chase on Randall. I like that lineup. I do. Do you think you can live in the mid? Do you think you can live in the mid range for GPPs today? Yeah, I think that is a little bit. It's a more contrarian lineup to go more balanced, but you can build a balanced lineup. There's enough upside in this range that you can do it. I think it's suboptimal, but I think it's fine. Yeah, Luka for sure. Yeah, 3,400 under for value. I think. Again, we got Randall. It's not something I love. And then Looney, Nico Mannion. With McGee out, do you think Nance play? Yeah, I think so. Like, let's see. Let's go to Cleveland. They have they might run like Dean Wade. Like, I could see him eating up a couple more minutes maybe. So Nance maybe plays a little bit of the backup five, but yeah, which obviously would be a boost. Could you help with content selection on tournaments? Yeah, so I go with, personally, I usually go for the single entry smaller tournament. So like usually I'll be in like the somewhere around like the 30 to 100 entries and single entry, because I think the smaller tournaments are much easier to get a good return on your investment. Conley or Kemba? Kemba. Draymond got 3 assists last time Steph was out. I feel like he has less upside without Steph. I disagree, but I think he might have the ball in his hands more. With McGee, okay, I already went over that. Sorry if I missed some questions here. I got a couple minutes left. Prize picks, okay, I can go to that really quick and then answer a couple more. And then again, I have to get out of here because I got to update a couple things for Patreon with that Golden State news. Well, looking at prize picks, let's see, does anything stand out here? Kevin Porter Jr. under. For sure, Kevin Porter Jr. under. With Wall, Oladipo, and Christian Wood playing and him not starting, definitely the under there on Kevin Porter Jr. I think I like the over on Luka at 59. I think he can get over that. So those two, I think, are what I like the best. Thad Young, thoughts? Viable. His minutes have been fluctuating a little bit. They were actually down the first 2 games he started and then played 31 minutes the last game. So in play. Jeff Green or Crowder. I'm not super interested in either, to be honest. I guess Crowder, but I'm not really looking to either of them. Harden, Poole, Larry Nance, Draymond, Jokic, Mannion, Tice Stewart. I'm okay with that. Again, Mannion is a little riskier of a play, but I'm guessing we get close to 20 minutes from him. Sam Aransky, Chasen Randall, Anthony Edwards, Oubre. Okay. All right. We get Oubre, Wiggins. They do get a boost without Steph for sure. Jay Rich and Grayson Allen or Crowder and Tice. Probably Crowder and Tice. All right, last question here. Then I'm gonna call it a day, guys. 4.4K in shooting guard. Ooh, so Poole's at 4.5. You can't do that. Well, there's not much here. So I would say probably rearrange something. Patty Mills gets a downgrade, obviously, with DeMar DeRozan, but I guess like he would be the one that I would land on if I had to pick someone in this range. But yeah, I think there's probably you'd probably want to rearrange something. But all right, let me refresh one more time. Make sure we got all that news, and then again, I'm going to call it a day, guys. Yep, we're up to date. So good luck to everyone. Keep an eye on that news. Have a good Friday. Enjoy the March Madness games, and I will see you guys back here for another stream tomorrow.